Hello again. So I decided to cut the last video short just to keep the Subaru stuff sort of separate from the Skyline. I went ahead and, you know, the point I'm at now is basically I've got the subframe out. I'll put the videos following, you know, getting the car set up and everything before that, obviously. But yeah, I didn't, you know, video every detail pulling the subframe out just because it, you know, was a bit tedious. I wasn't really that excited about doing it to begin with, so I didn't really sit there and show every part of every bolt coming out. But yeah, I'll go from now. So, you know, this is pretty much one of the first, this is the first step in getting this rear end sorted for the Forester, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, I'll try and get as much info as I go, try and video a bit more than I did do previously, just because I wasn't that interested in it. But yeah, it should be pretty good, so let's get into it. Okay, so sort of it's worked pretty well. The other one's still settling, but I've also just gone and put marks on the ground too. I've got some better tape because I think there's going to be a fair amount of references to put on the ground. So at least this way I can set up the laser a bit easier. These, I don't really know the length. I'm going to have to reference different points of the car, but yeah, so pretty much that's going to be our line. I was going to use the actual center point of the concrete on the floor, but it isn't actually level. Sorry, not level, it's not equal spacing either side, but with how, you know, I've squeezed everything into the garage, working that way is going to be a little bit easier as well. If I've got a mark center, at least not working in a recess should be easier. So that's all happy. I'm probably going to have to redo this later another time. I'm sure these will fall off as well, but yeah, that gives us a reference, which is cool. So that is one part of it. Again, once the car's in here, it's not moving, so I've got to get all of this stuff right because I don't want to have to be trying to work around stuff if there's a car in the middle. So cool, this one sort of, you can see it's settled, so we've got, assuming the laser comes up on the video, we've got those center marks. So yeah, cool. I did put wheels on the diff just to try and move it around, and it's locked up, which I'm assuming is just the handbrake. So now that this is happy, I'll get some air in here again because it's bloody hot. Pull the wheels back off and pull the drums off and just see why they're stuck. I'm hoping that it's just the brakes, it's not actually, you know, the center seats, because it is unknown condition. I've got no idea what the condition's in. But yeah, cool. That'll be the next thing, so let's go. Right, so got one side off. I'm definitely redoing the brakes on this diff, so had to use some unorthodox methods because they were bloody stuck on. I couldn't rotate the hub around to get to the adjuster, so hammer. You can see, you know, they've definitely been in there for a while. It's going to be hard to see, but the pads are, sorry, the shoes are gross. They're all split, they're all pooped. Inside of that is pooped, as you can imagine. Quick look, there's no oil in here, which I'm assuming there'd be some residual if it was leaking through the hub seal or whatever. More than likely going to get a bit of refresh anyway. But yeah, same on the other side. Again, going to be redoing the brakes. I'm going to try and utilise the shoe. I think from memory with my old BA Falcon, the factory handbrake works quite well. So might actually just see how that goes before going to a hydro or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah, okay, gonna get the other side off, at least that way once I can roll it, because then obviously I've got to cut all the mounts off. But yeah, first thing is just to be able to roll it, because skull dragging it isn't nice. I'm too old for it, so keep going. So both brakes off. Again, this diff is unknown condition. As far as I know, it's open. I think I'm going to assume, but yeah, it's not turning super freely, which is a bit of a bugger. I don't want to force it too much, but just by trying to sort of turn it there. It's just rotating the housing, which isn't ideal. I was hoping it was just with how stuck the brakes were that was it. So, Jesus, bit of a bummer, but I don't want to obviously kick it off the stands here. No, something's wrong. So I'll pull the cover off. Have to pull the cover off anyway and get whatever oil is in it out if there is any. Yeah, hopefully it's not completely munched in there, but we'll find out in a sec. The reason I was being so patient is just because I didn't want to drop the diff cover in there and make a big mess, because diff oil is gross. There's rust in there, like there's obviously water got through the breather. As to why it's not turning, everything looks okay in there. I will try turning it from the pinion, but yeah, the gearing, you know, I know it's been sitting for quite some time, so hopefully it's just a bit stuck on one spot from rust, but try to give it a turn from the pinion and see what happens. Sure we can see if I can get out of the light. Fair bit of rust in there, which is, yeah, not ideal. Hopefully it hasn't cooked the bearings, but you know, don't really know. Yeah, cool. So it doesn't look to be welded or anything. Looks like the spider gears are intact in there. Just a bit of a bummer I can't turn it. But anyway, I do still need to get the thing to roll, so I might just pull axles out, get the axles out of it, and then just pull the centre. At the moment I'm not too worried about the rebuilding side of it, whatever. You know, easy to get parts from and whatnot, so I do just need to be able to roll the thing around so I can actually start doing the main stuff of getting that into that thing. So yes, anyway, pull the axles out, get them, and then get the centre. Hopefully, anyway, whatever, see what happens. I actually had a change in plans, decided to stop caring so much, because I know the pinion seal had to be done regardless, that is known. But then I'm like, I don't know what ratio's in it, I don't know what gearbox exactly is going to go in the Subi just yet, so chances of keeping the centre is pretty low. So anyway, I just decided to get the thing to move because I just need it to roll. That's literally all I'm trying to do currently. Just again, unorthodox seems to be a bit of a theme here, but with some ugger duggers, I guess it's just able to clear up the bit of surface rust or whatever on the gears. Yeah, because even then I'm like looking at the nuts for the axles, and without the axles turning, then to get the nuts, doing them with a spanner, and I'm too old for manual labour and I can't be bothered, so just ugger it until it sort of comes free. So that's cool, can turn it by hand. You can hear it sort of getting to the points where there's just surface rust and it's trying to prevent it, but at the moment I don't care at all. So yeah, anyway, that's handy. It's basically able to move it now, which is good. So probably just going to pull like the handbrake lines off so they're out of the way. Do have to, yes, cut off all of the factory mounts in prep for the falling kit, which I got a rod shot universal kit, which is pretty cool. Haven't opened it yet, but I'll open it in a bit. But yeah, being able to move this is going to make life a lot easier, so just gonna slap the cover back on for the meantime so I don't get oil everywhere, and yeah, should be good. Right, so diff is back together as it's going to be for now. Can move it around, which is the main thing, so take it for nice little walks. Hopefully, haven't even tried. There we go. Awesome. So at least I can move it around, get it out of the way, which makes it a lot easier. So hello again. So following up from the last video, got the Forester in the garage now. I don't know, it seems very substantial because I know once it's in here for a while, but basically got it in and got it as centered to the points on the car. So what I've done is just measured multiple points along the car, on the outside of it, here and up the back as well, and just from the last video how I marked the ground out with the laser and put the plumb bobs in. I've then set the laser up again and got it within a millimetre from the front to the back of the car, which that's all going to change a little bit. I'm expecting it to change as I raise the car, but at least this way it's as close as I can get it now. Jack the car up, it'll change a bit. Put on stands, it'll change a bit, because then I've also got to level the car front to back, which is going to be pretty tedious, I think. But anyway, it's close enough to the centre marks, the centre line that I've drawn on the ground, and again, that's just for my own reference points, like I'm working in the rear, but at least if I can have it all straight, it's just easier to work with. Yeah, so the garage I'm working in is not the biggest, it's enough room for the car, which is cool, but I'm going to have to, I've had to sort of think about how I'm positioning the car, like, having it front in, how it is now, not as ideal, because if it was, back in, then I'd have all the room down there, but then I've got to think about getting the subframe out, getting the other diff to the car and trying to work like that, which is just a bit too difficult, so then I've gone the other way. I've given myself as much room at the back as I can, because then, got to do all of the welding and the Falcon diff as well, and then, each side I've got so much room, got a bit of junk that I need to get rid of, but, I can get like the welder parts, I can get to my toolbox and all that sort of stuff. So there's a fair bit to think about and plan, but yeah, happy with where it is now. So now I need to lift it up, which again, when I lift it up, it's going to move. But sort of got it in a happy spot, and then realised I don't even know if we can get Jack under the front, but I think it will be okay. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's like a lot of things where the prep work is going to be the thing that saves time in the end, prevent pulling my hair out. I'm not in a rush to do it. The whole idea with this car is to not rush and do all of the things I want to do and do it properly. So yeah, pretty excited though. There's a lot to go on to get it all where it needs to be, but it'll be good. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm going to start trying to get this thing up. I don't know how it's going to be leveling it with the stands that I've got and everything, but we'll see how we go. Right, got the car sort of happy-ish. Feels like it's been a while since I've had to do a big job underneath the car, which is cool, but basically what's happening now is I'm just trying to get the car level, so I'm just trying to work it off the sills. They seem to be pretty straight, so I just need to make sure that it's level, because then everything about the diff is then going to, if I get something dead level on the diff and the car's not level, then it's going to be out, so spend the extra time now getting it right. So yeah, it's a bit tedious, bit finicky trying to get within a mil or two, but where we're at now, I'll show you. It's going to be a bit hard to see the level, but just with the level that I bought, not being anything too expensive, it's got only I think 3 degrees it has to be within for it to self-level. So basically I've got to use the jack. Oh, I'm too old for this. Got to use the jack to keep it level, and then I'm just working off the sills, so I might just be blocked by this heat shield. I think I am. So just going to move the whole thing across, try and find a point that I can get the level high enough. So if we try up here, you just try and get it in that gap, and sort of see there. Right, so looking down that sill, if anything it's a touch high at the front, so I had it just a touch low before, but we're talking maybe 2 mil across the whole car, because we're just sort of shy, maybe 3 or 4 actually. But right, so I don't know how long it's been up to this point, but basically these are level along the sill. I don't know if we can see it too well in the video, but pretty happy. So I do expect it to change once I drop the subframe out of this thing, just because that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, car's level, which is good. So there is some angles I need to figure out, I need to measure now. But yeah, no, pretty happy. So this has been the fiddly part, making sure it's right. Right, so done some measuring of the coilovers, basically what we've got here, and it's just about sort of the position they are in. So, you know, facing forward, we've got 8.4 degrees, and then looking at the back of the car, starting further back, it's 4.5 degrees. Obviously these lines are exaggerated, but that's just for reference. So body clearance is probably one of the bigger parts of it, just to make sure that I keep the same sort of angles. I know body clearance is going to be right before putting mounts and everything on, as well as having something to go back to. So that part of it's cool. Yeah, from now I do need to put some center lines on the car as well, but I think I'm going to do that as in underneath. Obviously I'm going to do that after the subframe and stuff's out. There's not an awful, I don't think there's too much of a point doing it now. I do still have the references on the ground that I can use, because top of the car and everything still was straight by the time I got it all leveled. So with the top still being straight to the ground, then in theory the underside of the car should be level, and I should still have it centered to the lines on the ground, I think. I also have no idea what I'm doing. Right, again, so Gordon at Flash Motorsport is the one that's given me heaps of info about this, and I really appreciate it, because I'm not going into it blind. Like, I do have, you know, somewhere to start, somewhere, things to work off, you know, which is cool. So there's also instructions with like the Castlemaine rod shop kit as well. So yeah, I've got 2 things that I can reference. So I just want to make sure when I'm doing it, I'm, you know, like now, measuring everything and getting the right angles of what I need to as I go, so I don't just pull everything out and then be like, I'm stuck. So anyway, that's the main part. I do need to start getting just the subframe and everything out now, which, you know, tail shaft, all that fun business. So just going to chip away at that now. Right, so subframe's out. Not too bad really to get out, but you know, there's a lot of things there that you can just sort of tell that, you know, the Forest is definitely not made for any sort of motorsport or anything. Yeah, it's not too bad of a job. Like, it's, you know, 4 bolts for the subframe and then other bits and pieces. I've taken the whole brake line off. Still not 100% sure how I'm going to do the handbrake. I wouldn't mind retaining a factory handbrake, and if it works for drifts as well, then even better. Like, even this locked wheels, and you can tell just the diameter of the shoe, like the drum for the handbrake is much smaller than a E-series. So yeah, not bad. Pretty happy to have it out. You know, axles won't need to be changing these anymore, which is good. Still have 2 left, but I'm not going to bother. Yeah, I mean, I know that there has sort of been some question about, you know, what diff and why, I suppose. A lot of people will go to like an R180 where you can modify the subframe and mount one in there, which, you know, proven known to be quite strong. But then there's the cost of shafts and everything else, which to me, you know, this is a lot more work, substantial amount more work than, you know, getting an R180 in there. But one, I want to try it. It's something I enjoy doing. Like I'm gonna, you know, have a lot of fun doing it. And then also that thing where, without having to lash out thousands, like I'm $500 so far for the kit and the diff for the 4-link. So, you know, there will obviously be added stuff on top, but, you know, the chance of breaking one of these diffs is almost, you know, zero with how much power the car's going to make. Yeah, so no, it'll be really good. I'm really keen. I've got to get the fuel tank out now as well before I can really know what's happening, because it gets in the way. So, you know, I have to run a fuel cell, which isn't a bad thing anyway. Car will end up E85, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but that's probably one of the not as fun parts, I would say. But it was not too bad to get out, luckily. Pretty easy to work on, you know. So yeah, no big dramas. If anyone wants a welded Subaru diff, let me know. Right, so now that the whole subframe's out, next thing is the fuel tank. So I need to find one of those Haynes or Gregory's manuals for these cars, just because they do really come in handy with info on little bits and pieces. But pretty straightforward. At this point I've got the back seat out. It's pretty grotty and gross in here, as to be expected, just over the years, all the bits and pieces that fall down there. From what I understand, I don't need to pull any of the fuel lines or anything off at the top of the car. I can get to everything underneath once I drop the tank, which should hopefully be a bit easier. If not, I think there is some access sort of in the back. But I've just got the electrical connectors both sides that I need to get out. I'm not too sure because this tank sort of has like a, I don't know what you call it, it straddles like over where the tail shaft and everything is. I'm not sure how it actually transfers from one side to the other. It would have to, in case one side gets low, I'm sure, but I'm not sure what the plugs either side are for, if they're just two different sort of level sensors or something. But anyway, just get the electrical connectors out both sides, then get underneath and start dropping it. From looking at it, there's a whole lot of stuff going on with the charcoal canister or whatever you want to call it on this. There's like 7,000 lines at the back, as opposed to, you know, a feed return and a vent or whatever. But you know, I'm used to R31s, and this is almost 20 years newer, I suppose. Right, so back underneath the car, basically charcoal canister-y type thing here. What I was talking about with all of the fuel lines, you can see there's just, you know, lines everywhere. But I don't think that these have to come out from the top. I think once I drop the tank, I can get off the fuser for feeding the car or whatever. That's what I meant with that sort of straddling over the tail shaft. I have drained most of the fuel out, which is a good thing to do just because of weight and how heavy it's going to be. But what I'm sort of going to go for, I'm going to get this sort of, I guess it's like a protectant or whatever for the tail shaft. Get that off, probably drop the tail shaft up the front. I'm sure I've got a blank to the back of the transmission somewhere so I don't get fluid all over the joint, because that'll be yuck. Right, the tail shaft's out. Obviously missed a bit of oil, as to be expected, which is gross, but whatever. So basically I'm getting this sort of front cross member type thing out, which is separate to the subframe. It just sort of supports the front of the diff, but it is bushed, so both sides, as well as, where was it? It looks like through there it's also got bushes, so I did want to try and use this to mount some of the link bars. If I could it would be easier. If not, like, I do have some pretty beefy part of the car behind it. It just depends what's going to be easier in regards to, you know, making this solid, whether it be welding it to the car or what it is. But yeah, anyway, I've got to get it out and get the tank out to have a good look. So this is that sort of subframe out. Like I said, you know, it's bushed in here, so I don't want any flex where the links are going to be mounted. So still an option, keeping an open mind, because I don't really know what's going to go on. And then this front section that supports the diff, also rubber mounted, but I'd obviously pull that off, making those bushes, you know, redundant, wouldn't need them. So yeah, now that that's out, next part's the fuel tank, so hopefully we can do it without getting covered in fuel. Just a quick one now. So passenger side of the car, got these 3 lines that go to up to the tank there, and then inside the cabin there. So that's where one of the wires pulled out. I'm just going to cut these. I can't be bothered to try and get them off the fittings, and because I'm going to run a fuel cell anyway, it's, you know, doesn't matter. I will cut them different lengths or mark them just to, you know, in case I need to reference what the lines are doing. But yeah, obviously if I was refitting the tank, I'd be taking the lines off properly, but you know, anybody got time for that. Just a quick update. So charcoal canister assembly is sort of tagging. Filler X out again, just cut lines because it's all going to change with the fuel cell. So I'm just sort of trying to make it easier, making a bit of a mess, getting a bit of dirt there. So I guess the big thing I'm trying to do nowadays is just to keep it clean, because I don't really like getting dirty. So once I get this stuff out, you know, give the garage floor a clean so I don't have to roll around in filth. Yeah, got the rest of the fuel out, being careful just with power tools, because I can't remember if it's brushed or brushless, but one of them does sparks in the motor. So, you know, if you've got fuel vapors or anything around and you're using an agger-dugger, it can cause some dramas. But yeah, pretty much we're sort of all loose now. I don't know where this is. Got one line here that's never mind, just pull it off, easier. But yeah, like we're pretty much all loose there. Lines there are cut, and then there should just be the same on the other side, which realistically should leave us with just the straps. We should give enough time to sort of air out and get the fuel vapor and everything out too. So going to drop the straps, and hopefully the whole tank will just come out without any dramas. Using my trusty dolly. Skateboarding dream died a long time ago. I was just horrible at it for too long, and I'm too old and I was going to hurt myself. And works really good for in the garage though, for moving things around. Just a pro tip. Probably better with a $20 one from Kmart, but you know, this has got the value back in how much stuff it's moved for me. So the tank's out, which is good. Gives us, you know, the room to start having a look and start marking things up and everything else for the EL diff. So gonna have a bit of a clean up. You know, there's tools and dirt and stuff everywhere, so have a quick clean up, tidy up, and then I'm gonna have to start marking some points under the car. At this point, recheck if the car's level, as well as you know, make sure we're sort of running center. If not, you know, adjust points on the ground, adjust whatever, and yeah, need to put marks on the underside of the car now as well. So hopefully it hasn't shifted too much. Hopefully having all the weight out the back hasn't thrown it too far out of level, but I'll adjust it if I need to. But yeah, we've got our sort of canvas, if you will, on what we've got to work with. Can see some dramas already with sort of the shape of the floor and what I'm guessing is going to be just where it drops down for the back seats, where the link's going to have to go, but yeah, cross that bridge when we get to it, so keep going. Rightio, so looking like a bit of a graveyard out here, but fuel tank, old subframe, new diff is all sort of out here, which I don't like. It's gross, there's too much stuff around, but that's fine. I need to keep all of the bits and pieces just in case I need to use something off another one or whatever. Everything that I've taken off is all in here, just trying to keep it tidy, so kind of sort of work in sections. So I'll do one part, you know, like getting the diff out, get all the tools out, do everything, pack everything up, do the fuel tank, and you know, get all the tools back out and do it, and just helps my brain keep everything tidy and organised, so I don't have to be hunting for tools. I don't know if anyone's noticed I'm using a paint tray as my sort of tool tray at the moment, because I don't know what I've done with my metal one that I had, but it still works. Yeah, just going to give the garage a quick blow, get some of the crap out from underneath, and then the next part really is cutting all of the diff mounts off the EL diff. One thing that came up yesterday, Sveti, is just due to how the Subaru, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the video yesterday, anyway, how the Subaru rear coilover bolts to the factory rear end is through the knuckles, so that's obviously no good for the solid axle because it doesn't have a knuckle. So you can get replacement lowers from BC, because yes, BC golds, but don't really have the time. I've got the time to do all of this weekend. The first step, I did actually have to call Gordon from Flash again yesterday just to ask him about it, in terms of, you know, do I wait, like, because my first step from him was pretty much to hang the diff by the struts, or the turrets, I guess, if you're European or something, but it's just going to be too hard, because at least that way you've got a way to keep the, you know, keep the diff sort of hanging before you go, you know, centering and front to back and the roll and everything. So that's why I'm just going to cut them off and weld them onto the lowers I've got at the moment, just so I can keep going. Otherwise I'm going to have to sit and wait for different lowers to arrive. So yeah, cool. Have a quick tidy up and then start chopping this diff apart.